a puddle on the path. It is curious, but till that moment I had never realized what it means to destroy a healthy, conscious man. When I saw the prisoner step aside to avoid the puddle, I saw the mystery, the unspeakable wrongness of cutting a life short when it is in full tide. This man was not dying. He was alive, just as we were alive. He and we were a party of men walking together, seeing, hearing, feeling, understanding the same world, and in 2 minutes one of us would be gone. One mind less, one world less. It seemed to me worse than 1,000 murders. I could not go on any longer serving an imperialism which I had come to regard as very largely a racket. When I came home on leave in 1927, I was already determined to throw up my job. For 5 years I was part of an oppressive system, and it had left me with a bad conscience.
From a very early age, perhaps the age of 5 or 6, I knew that when I grew up I should be a writer. Between the ages of about 17 and 24, in Burma, I tried to abandon this idea. But I did so in the consciousness that I was outraging my true nature, and that sooner or later I would have to settle down and write books.
But at this stage you were still Eric Blair, and the brand of literature that you first attempted was the polar opposite of 1984.
At that time, I wanted to write enormous naturalistic novels with unhappy endings, full of detailed descriptions and arresting similes, and also full of purple passages.
By the winter of 1928, after 6 months of writing, Blair hadn't sold so much as a sentence. Holed up in a miserably cold studio here in West London, he was struggling with both his art and a physical handicap. Since childhood, he had suffered from frequent chest infections. By his mid-20s, that had developed into a chronic illness, possibly TB. In the 20s, fear of being quarantined kept many infected people from getting tested for TB.
Tuberculosis killed thousands of Britons last year.
From the few that did come forward, some were shanghaied into public information films that encouraged others to do likewise.
Take this young man. Perhaps he's scrimped on heating coal, or he's been short of food lately. Anyway, an old cough has just got worse. Probably smoking too much, he would have joked to his mates. He was. Now let's have a look at his X-ray. You see that patch on the lung? That's evidence of tuberculosis.
You'll have to go into hospital for treatment. I'll arrange that for you. It's what you must do when you come out that's so important. First you must get some light, open-air job. Then you'll have to have a special diet. I'm sorry to have upset you, I can only do my job.
Throughout his life, he ignored doctors' orders, especially if they got in the way of his writing.
During 1928-29, I lived in Paris, writing a novel which no one would publish and which I afterwards destroyed. But at that time, failure seemed to be the only virtue. When my money ran out, I worked for a time as a dishwasher in an hotel. I lived mostly from hand to mouth and went hungry on several occasions. I was very happy. Here I was at the lowest of the low.